Hey guys, this is a tour of my Knex coaster and some things on how I built it. So, this here's the station. So, I made a cooler design and I added stairs. I think they look pretty cool. It's way better than the other stations I built. And this time I fully used spinal track for this. Most of the time having 3 flexible rods instead of 1. And here's the lift hill. I decided to make a catwalk, but I didn't have enough pieces for the second lift. And the motor here, the lift had to start pretty high up, because when I tried to add another gear around here, it wouldn't wrap around the first gear enough. So I had to remove that other gear. And then I used truss supports for the lift because it was super easy and made it super stable and more reliable than my other builds. And it was pretty simple to do. And I used spacers to space out the pieces because I was still low on pieces. That's where I organized everything. This is where I organized it. All the stuff here, connectors, flexible rods or curved rods, micro pieces or other special pieces, rods, mechanical parts, special launches, which I will probably never use, spare pieces that I ordered from the Knex maker, but I didn't know how much bearings would be. I thought it would be cheaper to get the non-pre-built ones, but it was cheaper overall to get the pre-built trains. And I got this train because I thought it would be slightly better than the Clover Coasters train that didn't make it through tight curves. But when after I readjusted the coaster for the Knex maker trains, it made it through the whole coaster. Well, most of it at the time. But recently when I tried this one, it did almost as good of a job. But yeah, back to the track. The drop here I think is cool. It's a curving drop. And I used like these 3 side-by-side flat spinal track, which is bad. I don't recommend it. But I used 4 rod supports here and at the sorry, that was a voice crack. But yeah, I used some big supports here. Here's the cobra roll. I was hoping to make a banana roll going over the lift, but I didn't have enough room and it wouldn't make it through, so I put a cobra roll here. And then there's a airtime hill here. And this element was the most tricky out of pretty much all of the coaster, because the Clover Coaster trains wouldn't make it through until yesterday after I adjusted some things. But now for some reason perfectly makes it through. I'm not sure how, but it does. And I use a base now, but it's pretty simple. It's just flat, so it can sometimes get peeled upwards. But here's this element. It goes down. I had to make the transition much smoother because it was pretty tight before. That might be a factor. But it goes into an overbank turn. I think it counts as an inversion. It's pretty steep. And then a low to the ground turn, and then into kind of a cutback, then into this hardline roll here, into a turn, into a mid-course brake run here that goes under the lift hill, which I thought was pretty cool. And then this turn right here, it used to be outer banked because I couldn't get it to bank inwards, but now I got it too. And then it does this to the second lift hill, which is about the same as the first one. Very similar. But then here, I decide to do different spinal track. Instead, it's triangular, and that way it never gets in the way of the train going through, and it works way better, which I recommend. And it goes into this low to the ground turn under some of the elements, which I thought might be my favorite part of the coaster, or one of my favorite parts. And then it goes into a 0 to roll, which originally it was gonna look terrible. I was gonna do a truss design on it, but it did not work, so I settled for these supports, and it looks pretty good now. Then it goes into an airtime hill. It used to be pretty flat, but now I made it more curved and more even. And then it goes into a low to the ground turn here, which I didn't use the regular curved pieces of track because it wouldn't be banked enough, so I had to make it overbanked, but it's okay. I then made a hill into here, overbank turn here. And then I originally made a heartline roll going into a turn over here, and then going into a high turn over here, and then having no lift hill here, and just having it go back into the station. But it could go nowhere, it could nowhere near finish this turn that was here, so I had to readjust it a few times to turn it into an outer bank that I thought was pretty cool, because I was originally just redesigning it, gonna do an airtime hill, but I saw it laying on its side and I thought this was cooler. And then I did a turn into another low to the ground turn that takes it into the lift hill that goes through the tunnel that was originally the brake run, but I think it looks pretty cool. Then it goes back into the station, and that's the coaster. Oh, and then also I made the sign here just to make it a little more stable. I just put a few rods behind here. I didn't think too much about it, but it's okay. And then I also made this rotating star that works by putting a piece here. Should probably be tightened a bit, but it makes the gear rotate the rest of the rod. And then I also make the star be connected to this so that the star can rotate while the motor is running. So like this. And now that's pretty much my coaster. Yeah. You've already seen how it runs with the Knex Maker trains, but let me show you how it runs with the Clover Coaster trains. Just leaving that there for now. And pieces. So you see, it does pretty good, but then it doesn't do quite as good here. It just barely doesn't make it. So I still think the Knex Maker trains are better by a tiny bit, but now I think I have two good trains, which I didn't realize it beforehand. I'm sorry, Clover Coasters, that I underestimated you, but yeah, I'm pretty proud of this creation, but I think I'll take it down pretty soon, maybe today, because there are so many other projects I want to be working on. Thanks for watching.